I'm here at the Iowa, Missouri camp meeting. I've just attended a seminar by Oleg Latka, and it's been amazing about the great controversy. As he was going into the seminar, I just had to give my testimony about my experience with the great controversy. And 4 years ago, during COVID 2020, is when COVID shut all the churches down. And I believe it was the first Sabbath that COVID shut the churches down. I was going through my oldest daughter's room to get her ready to come home because the school that she was attending, one of our Seventh-day Adventist boarding schools, Fletcher Academy, was sending all the students home, and it was her graduation year. And I remember she was really upset about having to come home. While I was cleaning out her room, I looked in a laundry basket that was in her room, and inside the laundry basket was the great controversy. And I had never read personally, and I've been a lifelong Seventh-day Adventist. I've never read any of Mrs. White's writings, not myself. My parents tried to force me to read a few books when I was younger, and it never really took. And I will say I even had my doubts. But I took the book downstairs and I gave it to my wife and I said, "Honey, look what I found in Mia's room." And I said, "Maybe we should read some of this. I think it has a lot to do with prophecy," because I remembered some of the explanations my mom was giving me about this beautiful book when I was a kid. And I said, "I think this has some prophecy in it, and maybe it's going to tell us what we're going through right now in COVID." So we went downstairs, and my oldest son and my wife and I, she read the book. She turned to the one of the last chapters in the book, The Time of Trouble. And I listened to it and I said, it's beautiful, the way that she wrote this book. I don't remember it being so beautiful like this. And, even such a tough chapter to listen to at that time was just beautiful, the verbiage. And I told my wife after she finished reading that, I said, "I've got to wake up tomorrow morning and I have to read this book." And so I woke up the next morning and I read 2 chapters of the book. And at the breakfast table, I was telling my wife how wonderful the great controversy is. I said, this is amazing. I'm going to finish this whole book. And she said, "You know what you should do? You should get it on audiobooks." And at the time I was a cabinet maker, and I said, that would be a good idea. So I took it out to my shop that Sunday and I listened to it the first hour of work. I ended up listening to it the whole 8 or 10 hours that I worked that day. The next day I listened to it more. The next day I listened to it more. Before that week, I was binge watching Netflix, Hulu, and all these kind of things in the evening after, our work day and everything was over. But instead, I was listening to the book. And I found myself not even having a desire to watch any Netflix or Hulu or any of this stuff. And all I wanted to do was listen to the book all week long, while I was working, when I was putting my son to bed, all the time. And at the end of the week, I finished the book. And I remember about halfway through the week, I got down on my knees because I realized exactly where my heart had been. Even though I had been going to church every single Sabbath, I realized that I had been a lukewarm Christian and I had not given my heart fully over to the Lord. And I said, "Lord Jesus, what's happening inside right now," it reminded me of whenever I first came to the Lord. And I was so on fire for the Lord, and all my heart was for Him. And I said, "Wow, the way that this book has done for me," I said, "I can't stop." And I said, "Lord, I never ever want this thing to stop." And I went from the great controversy to the Desire of Ages. And then after I listened to the Desire of Ages, and it took me 2 weeks to listen to the Desire of Ages because it was so beautiful, the life of Jesus. And after I listened to that book, then the Steps to Christ, then Christ Object Lessons, then Thoughts from the Mount of Blessings, then the rest of the Conflict of the Ages series, I couldn't stop. Every week I was picking up another book and listening to it. And eventually I found the E.G. White app, which has all the books for free, and you can listen to them. And so I was listening to them, I was going back and I was reading some of them. It changed my life forever. And I realized that I can have a living relationship with Jesus Christ daily. It didn't have to stop with that 1 week or the next week. It could keep going forever and ever and ever. And it's been over 4 years now. And the Lord has blessed me to actually now, I can't tell you everything that's happened in the last 4 years. We don't have enough time. But now I am going to be a minister of the gospel, a pastor at the Poplar Bluff Seventh-day Adventist Church in Missouri, and Donovan Seventh-day Adventist Church. And God has led in a mighty way. And I hope that each one of you, Seventh-day Adventist Christians or just any Christian alike, will pick up this beautiful book and read it. And the Lord is going to bless you tremendously. I promise.